problem.
Many people, like that woman, choosing to ride out the storm as Hurricane Sally bears down on the Gulf Coast.
Good to have you here. 8 o'clock as we get your Tuesday morning going. We're watching your news, we're watching your weather, your traffic, and we've got weather here in Colorado as it's going to be super hot, but then we've got a major hurricane that's churning in the Gulf Coast right now. I'm Kirk Young.
I'm Megan O'Halloran. A whole lot going on. Break it down for us, Brooks. What you starting with?
Yeah, major implications on both sides. So chasing a record today. If we see 90, it won't be a daily record. We've seen warmer than that on this date, but if we get 90 or above today, it will represent the 74th time this summer that's happened, which is a record for the most 90s recorded in Denver. Kind of a breezy start up here, at least at the top, and you can see that haze, wildfire smoke in the distance. Otherwise, skies are clear outside, no clouds to be found. It is currently 59 in Boulder, 63 in Denver, 35 in Leadville, 60 in Akron, 54 in Yuma. And our forecast today, 86 by 1, pinpointing a high of 90 at 3 o'clock. It looks like we'll see that record, then cooling down to the pleasant lower 70s by dinner time and beyond. But coming up in Colorado's most accurate forecast, well, skies here are sunny with a little bit of wildfire smoke from those California and Oregon fires. The Gulf Coast bracing for major flooding from this Category 1 hurricane. It is making landfall tomorrow and all the while producing bands of lashing tropical downpours. Sam?
Problem right now on southbound I-25 right near I-76 if you're trying to drive from the Thornton North Glen area and into downtown. You can see that we have a fire truck right here. There were a couple of others. There was a report of a car fire. Now, when I pulled up the CDOT camera, I didn't see any flames. I didn't see any smoke. I did see some water on the pavement, so it's possible maybe the car just overheated a touch. But right now they do have what appears to be the left lane and the center lane on southbound I-25 right near I-76 blocked off to traffic. So you will have to move over to the right. You will see a bit of a bottleneck situation as you try to drive through that area. Out on the big map, though, earlier accidents being reported in the areas of eastbound I-70 at E470 and Santa Fe at Mississippi.
Thanks, Sam. Denver City Council rejecting an agreement between the police union and city representatives on how to fund officers' salaries over the next 2 years.
As Fox 31's Lisa D'Souza explains, the mayor is calling the move short-sighted and irresponsible.
And this agreement would have saved the city about $4.9 million next year, according to city officials who point out we're in the middle of a budget crisis here in the midst of COVID-19. Last night here, a vote of 8 to 5 basically throwed out months of negotiating. Under this proposal, Denver officers would have not gotten a raise next year, saving the city millions of dollars. But looking to 2022, officers would have gotten an estimated 2.7% increase in pay, estimated to cost the city about $4.4 million. Now, that's what some city council members took issue with, that raise, saying it's unclear how long our budget crisis could last. Others say the union was willing to come back and negotiate if needed in about a year. Here's what council member Candy Sidabaka, a proponent for defunding police, had to say, and what police union president Nick Rogers says about what comes next.
And what I would say for myself is that the 1 year is more appropriate than 2 years. We can't envision what our economic situation will look like in 2 years. And so it's not responsible for us to make concessions for next year that we would ultimately be paying back in the following year without knowing how fast we'll recover.
She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, period. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. We have 45 days to negotiate a contract. That started June 30th. June 30th. Those 45 days are up.
Now, Rogers, who you just heard from there, says Sidabaka is wrong about the next step, saying arbitration comes next, and he thinks a final arbitrated agreement could be the same agreement we saw come through on Monday. In Denver, Lisa D'Souza.
Thanks, Lisa. A Denver police officer files a complaint against a city councilwoman over what they say was the way they were treated at recent homeless cleanup camps that turned into a confrontation with police.
Guard dogs. They're just animals like pit bulls. They're guard dogs. Dumb mayor who thinks he can just stick his dogs on his own people.
The complaint says Councilwoman Candy Sidabaka, who you saw right there, made comments meant to dehumanize and humiliate officers in front of protesters, and that they were designed to further inflame an already tense situation. The officers had been called to 29th and Glenarm during a homeless camp cleanup where protesters got into a scuffle with officers. DPD says 2 officers were assaulted. We asked her about the complaint. This was her response.
Any comment on the complaint?
Thank you.
So nothing. Hey, if you want to talk about it, we'd love to have you here in the morning news. We want to get both sides of the story. The Board of Ethics will take this up this morning at its meeting at 9 a.m. Fox 31 will be on that Zoom call, and we will update you on what happens. And we're going to keep asking questions because, again, getting both sides of the story is what we want to do, but we can't do it when people won't talk.
Well, new developments after the Douglas County School Superintendent suddenly resigned last week to be closer to family. Well, now we're learning he's under investigation for workplace discrimination. They sent us this statement, which reads in part, on September 1st, the school board received a complaint of workplace discrimination against Dr. Thomas Tucker from a district employee. It goes on to say that he was put on administrative leave and is currently under investigation for the allegations. That means he was under investigation for a full week before he resigned. And the original announcement that he was leaving made no mention of any kind of investigation, instead focusing on his desire to be closer to family in the Midwest. Some parents in the district say they are furious over what they're now calling a cover-up and a lack of transparency.
We as a community were promised transparency, and we want to know what's going on with our kids' education.
Now, we don't have the details about exactly what that complaint alleges. The district says they cannot release details because the investigation is ongoing.
This morning, we're working to get more information on why this deadly car crash happened at DIA and who was killed. We had this for you as breaking news yesterday morning here on Fox. Denver police say a driver died after their car fell 2 levels inside the west side parking garage at DIA. Police say the driver was seen traveling along the passenger drop-off area when the car accelerated and drove through a concrete barrier on the 6th level. It landed on the exit ramp and burst into flames 2 levels below. A bizarre situation that we're continuing to work to get more details about. Sam?
Yeah, sad story there. Well, CDOT is launching a new campaign aimed at drivers who get behind the wheel while they're high.
How would you feel if a school bus driver was high on the job? Or a cab driver?
The campaign is called the Uncomfortable High. It features ads that ask people to consider the risks that other professionals could create if they were to drive while impaired. According to the state, 33 drivers who were involved in fatal crashes in 2017 tested positive for intoxicating levels of THC. Kirk and Megan.
All right. How about that Broncos last night, Sam?
Oh, I couldn't stay up for it.
I know.
That game was so late, but I did watch some of like the pregame coverage, and it seemed kind of weird with no fans.
Yeah.
That's a huge element of the experience, right?
Well, Monday Night Football last night, no fans allowed, as you guys are talking about. Weird to see empty seats at Mile High there for sure.
Well, state regulations stating no fans allowed in the stands, at least for game 1. Bad news for the stadium, though. Great news for local bars like Bar 38 in North Denver, where COVID preps remain important part of the playbook.
Kind of a different kind of night. Normally I would be getting ready or arriving to the stadium for Monday night. Been a season ticket holder since I was 10, so you know, it's a little bit different, but it's nice to be able to try to host some other Bronco maniacs like myself.
Bronco maniacs. Well, if you didn't know, Tennessee won with a last-minute field goal kick. Final score was
16-14.
16-14.
We're really close there.
Boo.
I know. That's tough.
So off to Pittsburgh, by the way, on Sunday. They play on Sunday against the Steelers. The wildfires raging in California could pose a health hazard across the country. NASA says the intense heat from the wildfires is sending carbon monoxide high into the atmosphere, with concentrations at about more than 10 times the normal level. NASA's atmospheric infrared sounder aboard the Aqua satellite captured the carbon monoxide fumes coming from the California wildfires last week. The jet stream then blew the carbon monoxide plume eastward across the U.S. over the Atlantic. Red and orange areas indicate regions with extremely high concentrations. Isn't that amazing, the impact it can have on the other side of the country? NASA says that the high altitude map to the images, the gas has little effect on the air we breathe, but strong winds can carry it downward to where it can impact air quality. Carbon monoxide plays a role in both air pollution and climate change, so obviously long-term effects are the concern here. Meantime, the slow-moving Hurricane Sally weakened to a Cat 1 storm, but the concern is that it could gain strength before making landfall along the Gulf Coast as a dangerous hurricane. Brooks is watching this one closely. The center of the storm expected to move near the coast of southeastern Louisiana today, so everyone out there is prepping for this. Some people leaving, some people staying. There's flooding in some areas already. And yeah, the storm surge is always the big concern ahead of these storms, and they're watching that right now. Let's take a live look. Pensacola Beach. And you can see that the conditions are starting to deteriorate. And Brooks, as you watch this on the radar, it looks like these are just the outer bands making their way into the
It stretches all the way to Louisiana, though.
It's 100 miles away from this webcam, in Pensacola, and it's still 36 hours from landfall.
All right, so we're on it, and we'll let you know when that gets closer.
An iconic Colorado tradition, the National Western Stock Show. It's not going to happen again until the year 2022. Safety guidelines have been put into place to prevent the spread of COVID-19. They will not allow organizers to host the event. The board of directors say that they made the decision early due to the heavy amount of planning and expenses that are required to put that show together.
Sotheby's first hip-hop auction gets underway today. Over 120 hip-hop related lots are on the block, including the most iconic artifacts from rappers like the Notorious B.I.G., Tupac Shakur. One of the coveted items is the crown worn and signed by Biggie during a 1997 photo shoot. You probably remember that photo. It was held 3 days before he was killed in Los Angeles. That's expected to get between $200,000 to $300,000. 22 autographed love letters written by Tupac to his high school sweetheart are also up for bid.
So this is the first time any major international auction house has done a sale focusing on hip hop. And something that I want to make very clear is that it's not just a musical genre, but the sale focuses on how it is actually a cultural movement.
Pretty cool. Oh, that MTV ring from that picture. I remember that. That's cool. Also on the auction block, Salt and Peppa's iconic leather Push It jackets. Push it real good. The hip-hop exhibition will be available to the public online through Sotheby's digital gallery.
Wow. Interesting.
Lots of really cool stuff, really iconic stuff from the 80s and early 90s. Pretty cool.
Well, as more people face hardship this holiday season, the need to serve those most vulnerable greater than ever. We have an announcement from the Salvation Army.
Today, we are likely to see our 74th 90-degree plus day, which will set us in the record books for the most 90s in recorded history for Denver. That happening at 3 o'clock, our normal high 79. Also, we'll talk about Sally, that hurricane heading for the Gulf Coast over the next 36 hours, battering waves and rain bands already making landfall.
Fox 31 Time Saver Traffic is brought to you by McDonald Hardwoods.
In Colorado history, only one governor has been convicted of violating state ethics laws. John Hickenlooper. He got the maximum possible penalty. Hickenlooper took illegal gifts, traveled by corporate jet, toured Europe illegally in a Maserati. That's not all. Hickenlooper sold positions in his office for big corporate checks. It was completely dirty, and he told the media to cover it up. I'm Corey Gardner. I approve this message. Let's clean up the mess.
Meeting with our lawyer, they started explaining to us that in Colorado, if you're in an accident, you can demand the policy limit. They told the insurance company they had 30 days to pay. They ended up paying because they knew that if they didn't pay within 30 days, Frank Azar was going to go after them, and they were going to go after an unlimited amount.
Insurance companies know if they don't pay under Colorado's strict time limits, I'm coming after them, and they're going to pay a lot more. Call me now, Frank Azar.
Veterans of our armed services and active duty military deserve our recognition.
The Rocky Mountain Honda dealers are proud to partner with Fox 31 to support serving those who serve.
Many of our employees are veterans, like me.
Like me. Like me. We're proud to work for a company that respects our service members.
See your Rocky Mountain Honda dealer for special offers for active duty and retired military.
It's our way to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Rocky Mountain Honda dealers, proud partners of Fox 31, serving those who serve.
Tracking storms down to your neighborhood with Pinpoint Weather.
Colorado's most accurate forecast.
When migraine strikes, there's Quick Dissolve Nurtec. Don't take if allergic to Nurtec. Side effects include nausea. To pay as little as $0, go to Nurtec.com.
Hey, my name is Dante, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A nuggets is the authentic taste of it. You can tell it's freshly breaded, seasoned perfectly, and it just has this unique taste that compares to no other. Once I bite into it,
My name is Meredith, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese is the oven-toasted, cheesy top layer. If home had a flavor, it would be Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese. I'm passionate about it.
They say actions speak louder than words. And when it comes to Cory Gardner, they're right. Cory Gardner likes to say,
I'm always going to vote for what's right for Colorado.
But in Washington, Gardner's taken almost $1 million from the insurance and pharmaceutical industries and voted to eliminate protections for pre-existing conditions and against cracking down on drug companies. Actions do speak louder than words. Cory Gardner. Can't trust him to be for Colorado. SMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
When migraine strikes, there's Quick Dissolve Nurtec. Don't take if allergic to Nurtec. Side effects include nausea. To pay as little as $0, go to Nurtec.com.
This is Fox 31 News.
8:15 right now. For the first time in its history, the Salvation Army is making an announcement about its 130-year-old Red Kettle campaign.
Yeah, the commissioner of the Salvation Army, Kenneth Hodder, national commander for the Salvation, joins us live. Good to have you. Thank you for taking some time out. I know you guys are busy. So let's talk first about how you've had to really transition the way you do basically everything you do during this Red Kettle campaign.
Well, thank you for allowing me to join you this morning. The Salvation Army has seen since the middle of March what you could imagine is a tsunami of human need. We've served more than 100 million meals, 1.5 million more nights of shelter than we would in a normal year, and there have been about 800,000 instances of emotional and spiritual support. Combined with that has been the challenges for fundraising, particularly the Christmas kettle. There are fewer locations at which to place the kettle. People are carrying less cash, there's less traffic, and there's more unemployment. So the Salvation Army is having to transition this year. We're having to start our Christmas Kettle campaign as of this week.
Well, obviously in a pandemic, the way people donate is going to look a lot different, keeping social distancing in mind. How can people help out this year? Because obviously they're not dropping coins in the red bucket anymore.
Oh, no, they will certainly see the kettles. Kettles will go out. There simply will be fewer of them.
Okay.
There will be social distancing, of course. Our bell ringers will be wearing PPEs. There will be cashless opportunities for giving at the kettle. But in addition to that, we're inviting people to go to rescuechristmas.org, our website that we've established where people can find volunteer opportunities, make a one-time gift, or they can enlist in Love's Army and make a $25 a month sustaining gift to the work of the Army.
Well, and if you see the kettle out there, and it sounds like we will see plenty of them still, maybe more than ever this year, it's a time to think about, taking a couple of bucks and putting it in the kettle, because it sounds like the need is higher than ever before.
It will be indeed. We're expecting about a 155% increase in the number of people coming to us this Christmas, going from about 2.6 million to 6.6 million people. And we're expecting at the same time, as I suggest, about a 50% drop in our overall Christmas Kettle campaign effort. So it's important that people who want to support the Army do so now and do so regularly.
Well, Commissioner Hodder, give us the website. A lot of people at home, obviously, we're not going to be out and about for the Christmas season like we typically are in years past. So how can people donate from the comfort of their own home?
We would like to invite them to go to rescuechristmas.org, where they'll have an opportunity to find out about a full range of opportunities. I know that Majors Mike and Cindy Dickinson there in Denver, who have been doing such a terrific job, will be very grateful for their help. And all of the money that they give will stay in that community.
Yeah, and the folks here with the Denver branch of the Salvation Army have been fantastic. And, I just hope that people give. I hope that everyone realizes the need is great, and you guys are still out there. We appreciate what you do. The Commissioner, Kenneth Hodder, live for us from D.C., the head of the Salvation Army. So we appreciate your time and all the efforts you guys do to raise money for the needy here across the country. 8:18 right now on your Tuesday morning.
Let's get over to Brooks. He's watching the weather. So are
Yep.
we, and you're also watching Hurricane Sally, too, as it bears down on the Gulf Coast. What's the latest there?
Yeah, we're looking at clear skies and hot weather here, but down in the northern Gulf Coast region, this is a hurricane. It's a Cat 1. It's expected to remain on the weak side as far as the winds go at Cat 1 after briefly last night touching Category 2 status with winds of 100. You can see that concentric eye wall as it works west-northwest. It's crawling. It's doing about 2 miles an hour, but all the while it's been battering heavy rain, storm surge, also gusty winds over 40 miles an hour on the coastline. We've got a live camera. This is from Navarre, Florida. In a second, we'll bring that up for you, and just pull it up when you can. But this is just west of Pensacola, and it shows you those battering waves. This Category 1 working northwest, and eventually at this pace and its current direction, expected to make landfall anywhere from near the Pearl River, which is the border of Louisiana and Mississippi, over to maybe Biloxi, Dauphin Bay, up through Mobile, Alabama, maybe as far east as Pensacola. But no matter where the center of circulation goes, it's going to dump a ton of rain as it's been doing. This is a live cam. This is from the Surfline cam there at Navarre, Florida, and you can see those waves looking like about 6 to 10 feet there in the far background. I mean, that is just closed out. You couldn't surf there if you wanted to. Rough conditions, gray skies, and a forecast featuring just worsening conditions, deteriorating conditions. This is forecast rainfall. There's Mobile, Alabama right there. There's Navarre, there's Pensacola. This is like 10 to 20 inches of rain on the way, so historic in that sense as well. Meanwhile, back home, we're going to set some history of our own today. Not in the sense of a record high for this day. However, with high pressure in control, keeping thankfully the heaviest of the smoke away from us, we could see a high approaching 90, maybe 91. Now, if we do see 90, and that is in my forecast today, that would represent the most 90-degree or above temperatures in any 1 year here in the Denver metro region, happening in the summertime. So, yes, one of the hottest summers. And while we're still dealing with our 4 major wildfires in Colorado, the smoke we're seeing across the skies is coming from those huge California wildfires. Now, our air quality moderate. It's not as bad as it could be, only because a lot of that smoke is elevated above about 15,000 feet. But there is a little bit of that haze interrupting our view of what would typically be Long's Peak here beyond the Flatirons looking toward Boulder. So certainly impacts in that sense. And also from the perspective of downtown looking due west, Mount Evans, 35 miles west, is completely enshrouded in smoke, while you can, of course, clearly see the foothills. Now, from the high country A basin, there's better visibility. You can see Breckenridge and blue skies just fine. So there will be waves of smoke in varying intensities, otherwise sort of adding a gray to our blue sky today. Hot and sunny, though, otherwise. Highs near 90, a dry forecast. A good time to download that free Pinpoint weather app with our ever-changing Colorado weather. 39 at Berthoud Pass right now, 63 in Denver. Pretty wild to think that last week at this time we were talking about snow in the forecast, which we got. And today we're talking about exceeding the record for total number of 90-degree days in any 1 year. So not that we want to achieve that record, but we've all lived through this long, unrelenting summer. So why not call it a record, something to remember 2020 by yet again? Maybe not in the best context, obviously. 90 today, 85 degrees tomorrow. We'll slowly cool down toward 80 by Monday, which is kind of close to where we should be this time of year. But we're also seeing this time of year, guys, those temperatures rapidly falling for our average high. So by Monday, our average high is about 77.
Thanks, Brooks. An update on the Cameron Peak fire this morning as temperatures warm up, and we could top out at 90 degrees again today.
Classic rock in Colorado is on 103.5 The Fox.
Dave Frazier and the Pinpoint Weather Team, Colorado's most accurate forecast.
After an accident, there's a secret to recovering all the money you deserve.
The Mike Slocum Law Firm.
Power. Experience and results.
They really do mean business.
Call the Mike Slocum Law Firm on the Hurt Line right now.
Yeah, I think we're good here. Why do we offer so many active safety features on our Chevy SUVs?
Oh, yeah.
All set.
Ready, Freddie?
Because we're not just engineers.
Promise when you get there, okay? Slowly. I'm going slow. We have families, too.
Get 15% of MSRP cash back on most 2020 Equinox models. That's over $5,700 cash back on this Equinox. Plus, current competitive owners get an additional $750 cash allowance. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
My first husband took his life after a deployment to Iraq. Our boys were 12 and 14 at the time. I wish I could say no other family will go through what we went through. Cory Gardner got the Senate to create a national suicide hotline, 988, and there will be someone on the other end of the line for them. Nobody does this job like Cory Gardner. Nobody.
I'm Cory Gardner. I approve this message.
I was just so overwhelmed. My dad saw me crying and he just hugged me. It wasn't just a short little hug, it was one of the really long, good hugs. After it was over, I stepped back and there's this huge puddle of tears on his shirt. And then we just hung out all night.
We had just finished working on my dad's motorcycle. This time he asked me to park it in the garage for him. My hands were sweating. I'm like this on it. You can feel your body shaking, and I was nervous. Yeah. It was cool that he trusted me.
You know, most companies come to your home to try to sell you something. They don't clean the furnace, they just look at it and find something wrong. Fix It 24/7 wants to make sure your furnace serves you as long as possible. With a furnace cleaning, they actually clean the furnace. And do you know that dirt is the #1 killer of furnaces? When they cleaned my furnace, they took it apart and practically refurbished it from the ground up. I don't know another company that does this much for the same price as Fix It 24/7.
Gorgeous and affordable, with driving dynamics better than the Germans. Alfa Romeo is back with all-wheel drive sedans and SUVs. Just drive it at Mike Ward Alfa Romeo.
The Beast. Always ready to keep you prepared. Combining data and experience to give you Colorado's most accurate forecast. The Stevenson Pinpoint Weather Beast. Only on Fox 31.
Do you want everything you may deserve? Tell the insurance company you mean business.
I acted fast and called a powerful law firm.
They know how to get more from the insurance company.
Way more than I thought I'd get. I called on the Hurt Line.
I got the compensation I deserved.
8:25 right now. The boom in sales for grocery chains like Walmart and Costco seem to be slowing down. Kroger said Friday that sales have slowed after record profits from March through August. Retail analysts say it's because most shoppers have stopped hoarding groceries and have finally started settling into a routine. Some restaurants are reopening and also giving consumers more options. Analysts say stores may soon bring back big discounts to keep up the momentum that they've built up over the past few months.
Well, that's good because I like big discounts. Most Pepsi products are designed to give you more energy. Now the company wants to help you sleep. PepsiCo revealing a new drink called Drift Well. The company calls it an enhanced water drink that contains a relaxing chemical commonly found in tea and sleep aid supplements. So water with a chemical that knocks you out. Sounds good. One company official said there's a big demand for stress-relieving products right now. Pepsi plans to launch DriftWell online later this year and in stores by 2021. Do you think you would use a drink to help you calm down?
I need everything that I can get my hands on.
Really?
To help me calm
With
down.
this
Yeah,
schedule,
I'm a basket case.
I could fall asleep right now if you wanted me to.
Really?
Oh, anywhere, anytime.
And I wouldn't even know that
asleep.
you were sleeping. I wouldn't even notice your absence.
I'm that boring when I'm awake.
Just kidding you.
8:27 on your Tuesday morning.
RTD looking to make some pretty big cuts, greatly reducing its staff. How this could affect riders.
And Broncos game last night, no fans in the stands. Fox 31's Drew Engelbart, he was actually at the game, so he's going to give us kind of an inside perspective of what that was like.
You're watching the Fox 31 Morning News.
It starts off with a little seed, and with a little love from nature, it sprouts to life. And when delicious fresh fruits and veggies are perfect, they are rushed to the home of fresh. Sprouts, where goodness grows.
First came steam, then came electricity, then the silicon chip. Now comes the next great step, a revolution driven by data and applications, IoT and artificial intelligence, the fourth industrial revolution, from autonomous vehicles to augmented reality shopping to real-time collaboration. There's one company born to enable it that combines network, edge cloud, security, and collaboration. Lumen, the platform for amazing things.
Colorado Potatoes, helping power your performance. Whether it's training season or race day, the champion Adams State University cross-country team enjoys Colorado Potatoes, giving them the nutrients they need to finish first. From our farm to your family, look for Colorado Potatoes.
Solar power, wind power, this is how we fight climate change. When I was governor, we got coal plants shut down and replaced with clean energy. In Washington, they're ignoring climate change and still investing in the energy of the past. Let's get rid of the $43 billion in tax breaks for big oil and focus on clean energy instead. That's how we protect our planet and create jobs of the future. I'm John Hickenlooper. I approve this message. Washington's got to get its priorities straight.
You want to reach people? Broadcast television is still the champ. Colorado TV reaches more adults in a day than YouTube or Netflix reach in a whole month. 98% of adults in Colorado use broadcast TV every week, and most watch every day. And of the top 100 TV shows, 95 are on local TV. Broadcast TV reaches more people and touches more lives.
If you are interested in advertising with Fox 31, please contact us today.
John Hickenlooper repeatedly broke the law while in office. Private jet trips, luxury limo rides. And when he got caught, Hickenlooper defied a court-ordered subpoena and was held in contempt.
While you were governor, you took those rides on corporate jets.
Can you tell me why you defied the subpoena and why you felt like you were above the law?
Why do you play by a different set of rules?
So, Mr. Hickenlooper, are you sorry for breaking the law?
Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
At DraftKings, we strive to responsibly create the ultimate gaming experience with deposit, spending, and time limits. This ensures that you have the tools you need to play safely. Visit our website for more information and play responsibly. DraftKings.
It starts off with a little seed, and with a little love from nature, it sprouts to life. And when delicious fresh fruits and veggies are perfect, they are rushed to the home of fresh. Sprouts, where goodness grows.
Live from Denver, this is Fox 31 News at 8:30.
This morning, RTD one step closer to making massive cuts in staffing and services. What's it mean for the bus and the train that you ride? We'll find out straight ahead.
And say it ain't so. The Broncos lose a heartbreaker late in the night at Mile High. What went wrong and what's next?
8:30 on your Tuesday. Thanks for joining us here on the Fox 31 Morning News. I'm Megan O'Halloran.
And I'm Kirk Yonke. Good to have you. Let's check the roads and the weather out there if you've got places to go. The weather here in Colorado is certainly not going to put any hiccup in your travel plans this morning, right, Brooks?
Not at all. A far cry from last week at this time when we were tracking snow. Today, it's all about the 90s. And if we see 90 today, which is the forecast, it'll be a record in that we'll have had 74 of them occurring this summer, which is a record as far as the most ever occurring in hazy skies thanks to distant wildfire smoke. Those California fires really reducing our visibility. Thankfully, not so much our air quality, although there is a little bit of a tinge of that. We're cloud free around the region. 63 in Denver right now, 57 Briggsdale. It's in the 30s in some of those Mountain Valley towns like up in Jackson County at Walden, 34 degrees, 50 in Lyman. Our forecast today, 85 by noon. It's going to be a summer's day, 90 degrees by 3, and then cooling down into the low 70s by dinner time. Coming up in Colorado's most accurate forecast, how long this hot and dry pattern lasts for Colorado in the west, and tracking Hurricane Sally set to bring flooding rains to parts of the northern Gulf Coast as soon as today, but especially tomorrow. Sam?
Yeah, hope those folks down there are safe and sound. Right now, we want to take you out to the roads, though. There are still some police officers on scene at what was reported as an earlier car fire. We didn't actually catch any smoke or flames when I pulled up the CDOT camera, but it does sound like the fire department was able to put everything out and take everything under control. So if you're still traveling in that area of southbound I-25 near I-76, you could still see some of those police officers in the final cleanup stage where they're working that accident. And then other crashes to watch out for right now, heading towards the DTC, southbound I-25 at Yale. And then on the flip side of that, northbound I-25 right near 225, and an off-highway crash being reported at Washington and 95th.
Thank you, Sam. The RTD Board of Directors will hear plans today to greatly reduce staffing on the metro area's buses and trains.
Well, yeah, this move comes as RTD is facing a huge budget hole, $166 million budget shortfall. Jim Hooley is on it live at the RTD station, Alameda, this morning. I mean, have they said exactly how they'll fill that budget shortfall?
Well, this is what they're trying to do, Kirk. They're trying to make these cuts in staffing and services and things like that, so they obviously can cover that 166. That's a massive gap that they have to come up with. We've been talking about this plan now for some time, but now the RTD Board of Directors today will sit down in what they call a study session and look at the proposals that have been put together. Here's what's happening out here right now, and here's a look at the proposals. RTD says right now its ridership is currently off 40% of the pre-COVID levels, down to 40% of the pre-COVID levels, but it continues
continues to provide service at 60% of the pre-COVID days. Staffing levels, they say, remain at 100%. So you do the math on all that, something has to give, according to RTD, and cuts have to be made. The proposals include reducing the number of RTD positions by 25 to 30%. That includes representative union people and salaried staff, too. So that would mean eliminating 550 part-time and full-time jobs. 550, a massive number. And salaried workers would forego pay increases coming up next year. The union involved in all this that represents the bus drivers, the train operators, they obviously are going to fight all this. They say they're ready to fight it in the long run, in the long term. So it's going to be a long battle here. It's going to be a very difficult time for families involved in all of this, of the workers, and for people who take the trains and the buses. That meeting coming up tonight, that study session, all important, that will make a decision that will go into effect somewhere down the road. That begins at 5:30 this evening. And we, of course, will keep you posted as to what happens.
All right, Jim, thank you. Certainly impacting a lot of people here. It'll be interesting to see what they ultimately decide to do. 8:34 right now, the city of Aurora voting to stop paramedics from sedating people with ketamine, at least for now. Councilmember Curtis Gardner proposed this resolution while the city waits for a team of independent investigators to finish its investigation into the death of Elijah McClain. Paramedics gave him the drug last year before he died after he was in a rough altercation with police. While the city's medical director has said ketamine has a good safety profile, Gardner said there are other options out there for paramedics.
For me, it's important to make sure that we are giving the right tools to our firefighters, to our paramedics to use to do their job, and also clear direction on, what tools we want them using. So I think it's really important that as we go through this review, we take those results and then we make them more permanent.
The paramedics will be trained on new protocols before the moratorium takes effect. It will expire 30 days after council receives results from the Elijah McClain investigation.
CU Boulder reporting 89 new COVID-19 cases on Friday, which is the highest single-day total of the semester. So far, 1,246 students have been monitored. 318 have been tested for the coronavirus. 62 on campus. Isolation spaces are currently in use to isolate those folks. Health workers keeping a very close eye on college campuses to try to prevent COVID-19 outbreaks. And many are looking at how Massachusetts is handling cases. More than 40 colleges and universities in Massachusetts showing an increase in patients. However, one doctor in the state says schools like Northwestern and BU, Boston University, are testing students multiple times a week with results in 24 hours and setting the bar for schools across the country. As Denver schools prepare to welcome back more kids from virtual learning, custodians are in high demand. The district trying to fill 70 custodian positions. In addition to wiping down desks and cleaning bathrooms, custodians now moving desks 6 feet apart, cleaning books in some cases. The district pays $14.77 per hour, and the work is year-round, even through summer break.
Well, check out the fireworks from last night's Broncos game. Wish it was coming with a W. Unfortunately, the heartbreaking loss for the Denver Broncos last night, losing in the last minute with a field goal. Tennessee Titans winning this one. Drew Engelbart here to break down what's next for the Orange and Blue.
It does come with a W. Wow.
Oh,
the fireworks.
I see what you did there. Or why?
Or
yes.
why?
Why did we have to lose?
Why didn't we take those timeouts at the end of the game?
Or why did I stay up past midnight to see a tough loss?
Well, hey, so speaking of staying up past midnight, you actually got to go to the game, which is something they didn't let fans in like general admission, but they wanted to do kind of a test run, right?
Yeah, the governor called it a dry run through. So 500 tickets were given out for players and staff to give to friends and family. I'm lucky enough to have a close friend on the staff who gave us tickets. So first off, let me say it was very weird inside of the stadium. It almost felt like a practice. I'm sure it felt more like Monday Night Football on TV than it did actually in the stadium. But I will say the team, the stadium crew did a great job making sure folks were social distancing. In fact, there was plenty of times throughout the game where I saw someone come wipe down the handrails with disinfectant throughout the day. So you could tell that they were really focused on COVID-19 and the precautions. So I think they're ready to go for week 3 when they're going to have 5,700 fans against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers. Fingers crossed it all goes well. But yeah, it was a tough loss to swallow for Broncos fans. The clock turned from Monday night to Tuesday morning. It was very late last night. The Broncos were in control for pretty much the entire game with the lead until 17 seconds remaining. So here's what fans are going to be talking about at work or on Zoom this morning, if you will. Broncos #1 draft pick, wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, with 2 very costly drops. He had a tough game, one that really could have sealed the win for the Broncos late. Also, Coach Fangio's clock management towards the end of the game, choosing not to use timeouts. In fact, the game ended and the Broncos had 2 timeouts in their pocket. That doesn't help you at the end of the game. And the offense only scored 14 points. They had a costly turnover close to their own end zone. They didn't score on 4th and goal from the 1-yard line. So that made for this, a game-winning field goal for the Titans, 16-14. The Titans win at a tough loss, the season opener for the Broncos.
It hits a little harder being on the field and being able to have a say in the outcome. But yeah, there's just some plays that we could have made there to not only finish the game out, but just during the game.
Yeah, the turnover right here by newcomer Melvin Gordon was tough near the Broncos goal line. That was just one of the many mistakes. In fact, Drew Lock said after the game, we should have won that game. Unfortunately, they didn't. The positives, if you're looking for some, quarterback Drew Lock looked great in his first start of his second season. He put the ball where it needed to be, but once again, costly drops hurt the offense. The defense looked good, but they just couldn't get any pass rush without Von Miller. So what's next? A quick turnaround and travel week for the Broncos. They head to Pittsburgh for a matchup with the Steelers on Sunday. Note that kickoff time, an early one, 11 a.m., so we'll be able to sleep on Sunday night. And it's another huge night for Colorado sports fans. No sleeping tonight. The Nuggets looking to make history again in the NBA bubble. They'd be the first team in NBA history to win back-to-back series after trailing 3-1. So it's the Nuggets and the Clippers, and the best 2 words in sports, Game 7, tip-off tonight at 7 o'clock. Guys, how tough was that loss last night? Well, the last time the Broncos lost a season opener at home was 2011. The stadium had a different name back then. I also saw a stat that's not pretty for Coach Fangio. He's coached 17 games now for the Broncos, and 4 of those games, the Broncos have had the lead with less than 30 seconds to go, and they've lost.
You can't lose games like that. But do you feel like the team, I mean, you're a Broncos fanboy. Yeah. Do you feel like, it's true. Fan man. Whatever. Yeah, that's okay, whatever.
Don't you downgrade him like that.
Do you feel like the team looks better than last year?
Absolutely. You look up at the end of the game, you said, how do they only have 14 points? It was those simple mistakes, although we did say that a lot last year. Those simple mistakes, you got to get rid of the excuses and just get a win at the end of the day. But Drew Lock brings a spark to that offense. You know, it was difficult, I think, for them to really get going without the crowd noise. Some of them talked about it after the game. It was weird for them, as you would imagine. And you have to wonder if Broncos country was loud and proud Monday Night Football on a night game at home. You have to wonder if the score would have been different. But hey, it's not going to be that way in 2020. So you got to figure out a way to get the momentum rolling. And I think they are a better team this year. The Titans are a good team. So hopefully they can turn it around next week in Pittsburgh. Another tough team.
Yep. All right, I know you'll be watching. You're the biggest Broncos fangirl I know. So
we went from boy to man to girl.
Keep it going, Kurt.
You made it too easy, Drew. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate that.
All right, at least some Girl Scouts are doing things a bit differently during the pandemic. What some parents are now being required to do first.
It's going to be a hot day today. Last week at this time, we were talking about snow. This week, we're talking about 90 degrees by 3 o'clock, and that would place us in the record books for the most 90s we've ever seen in a summer here in Denver. Also tracking Sally, a hurricane threatening to the Gulf Coast. Coming up after this break.
Classic rock in Colorado is on 103.5 The Fox.
Jeremy Hubbard and Aristea Brady, Fox 31 News.
Upgrade to a new garage door from A1 Garage, and we'll give you a $200 King Soopers gift card. Schedule your free estimate today at a1garage.com.
A1garage.com. A1 from day one.
This is DraftKings Sportsbook, land of no-brainer boosts. Pick a football team this week, any team. Bet $1 on them, win $100 if they win. Now is the time. Navigate the app with ease. Sign up with the promo code. Celebrate football the right way with a no-brainer bet on any game. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Bet $1 to win $100 with the only top-rated sportsbook app that matters. And make it rain.
I was just so overwhelmed. My dad saw me crying and he just hugged me. It wasn't just a short little hug, it was one of the really long, good hugs. After it was over, I stepped back and there's this huge puddle of tears on his shirt. And then we just hung out all night.
We had just finished working on my dad's motorcycle. This time he asked me to park it in the garage for him. My hands were sweating. I'm like this on it. You could feel your body shaking, and I was nervous. Yeah. It was cool that he trusted me.
A1 Garage Door is open for business and practicing safe social distancing. We can fix your garage door without meeting face-to-face and send your invoice by email. Schedule online at a1garage.com.
A1Garage.com. A1 from day one.
Is your debt weighing you down? Buried in high-interest debt and too many bills to keep track of? Mortgage rates are extremely low. Now is the perfect time to consolidate all your bills into one affordable payment with American Financing. Our salary-based mortgage consultants can help you save up to $1,000 a month, and you may even delay 2 mortgage payments. Let your home equity help you pay off debt faster. Start saving now with American Financing. 303-695-7000 or AmericanFinancing.net.
This is Michelle. Michelle was stopped at a red light when someone ran into her. She was injured and didn't know where to turn. Michelle called Frank Azar, and Frank got her $185,000.
Injured in a car wreck in Colorado? You know what to do.
Hi, I'm Mike Ward for Mike Ward Alfa Romeo. The all-new perfect size Alfa Romeo Stelvio SUV is fun, fast, and stands out in a sea of stale SUVs, with the Quadrifoglio clocking in as the fastest SUV at Nürburgring. Just drive it at Mike Ward Alfa Romeo in Highlands Ranch.
The A in Chick-fil-A is for A game. My least favorite word is just. If ever you hear the word just, whatever comes behind it is not going to be somebody's A game. And you never hear that at Chick-fil-A. It's in our DNA to do everything as best we can.
To me, the A in Chick-fil-A stands for a higher standard for yourself in your store, and it's really natural to me to try and make connections with customers that are deeper than just, hi, how are you? Like, how's your family, or how are your kids, too? That really makes their day.
This is Fox 31 News.
Megan, is your microphone dead? Did you charge your batteries this morning?
What?
Oh, Megan's mic. Get some new batteries. All right, trending this morning, a waiver for Girl Scouts and the Nuggets looking to make history again in the NBA bubble. We're going to talk to our buddy, Michael Babcock, TMZ. He joins us live. All right, Babs, good to see you, my friend. Happy Tuesday. So Girl Scout parents have to sign a waiver for what? What's the deal with this?
Hey, Quaker Megan, thanks for having me. I hope Megan's not saying her batteries died so she doesn't have to talk to me here now.
That's how she gets out of things, by the way. Ask her boyfriends. They'll tell her. They'll tell you.
So, yeah, this is pretty wild and pretty sobering, actually. So in Northern Illinois, Girl Scouts and kind of all the events, the in-person events that they have, are going on as scheduled, except there is one major change here now, and that being that the Girl Scouts are actually requiring parents or guardians of the girls to sign waivers. And what the waivers essentially say are you are acknowledging the risk of sending your child to one of these events, and they could, hopefully not, but they could contract COVID-19, and they could get very sick, or they could even die. And parents are, again, forced to sign this paper acknowledging the risks, and it's very sobering. You're talking about children and signing waivers, and there could be possibly death. It's just another one of those sobering moments that we've all kind of gone through.
I think that's a reality that we're going to see in a lot of organizations are going to have to do that, though. That's probably what we're going to see a lot more of.
Right, especially when you have such a large organization like the Girl Scouts. There's obviously a lot of liability there if, God forbid, one of the kids was to get sick. And yeah, I think you're right. As things start to open, Kirk, we're going to be presented with these realities, and we're going to have to make decisions. And is it worth it, or is it not worth it? And I know a lot of people are worried about the cookies. The cookies seem to be a go, so the cookies are going to happen.
I'm worried about the cookies. By a lot of people, you mean me. I'm worried about the cookies. Is your mic back on, Megan?
I'm back in business.
Can you take the batteries back out?
Hey, Megan.
I would never do that to you, Babs. You're on my good list.
Well, we got to talk about the Nuggets.
Yeah. Yes. How about that?
How about those Nuggets, man? Did you ever expect them to come back against the Clippers?
No, and because before the season started, I thought the Clippers were probably going to win the NBA title this year. And then to come back from 16 points in Game 5 and then 19 points in Game 6 with all the talent that the Clippers have was absolutely incredible. My only fear heading into tonight is whether, one, the Nuggets are spent, coming back. Well, they're trying to come back now, obviously, from down 3-1 2 times. That takes a tremendous amount of energy and emotional toll on the team. I hope they are not spent going into the game tonight. I would also look for them not to fall behind double digits. I think because it's a Game 7, if they do fall behind double digits, I don't know if they have enough to come back this time. But I know a lot of people are picking the Clippers. The Nuggets are 7.5-point underdogs. I feel like the Clippers are going to win the game, and I'm only partly saying that because
know
I'm
your
talking to you
audience,
guys.
Babs.
That's it. But Jokic is so good. Jamal Murray, the team is really good. They look like a cohesive unit, whereas the Clippers, they just look disjointed and not on the same page. So I'm picking the Nuggets. I think they are going to pull up the upset
there
tonight.
You go.
And
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
No matter who wins,
it's a great story.
No matter, it's an
Sometimes
awesome
it feels like
story.
destiny. Yeah, and it feels sometimes things just feel right, and they feel like a team of destiny, and I believe in that stuff.
Oh, you do?
Wow. See, there you go, man.
When it comes to sport, when it comes to sports,
I was going to say.
Maybe destiny's not the right word, but just they seem to have that
When you
magic.
got it, you got it.
Yeah.
No question about that. When you got the mojo going, well, we got to run. Thank you so much. No matter which team wins, it is Game 7. The Lakers have been resting since Game 5. It's going to be tough going up against those Lakers. We don't have time to talk about that. I'd love to pick your brain about that. You could check out TMZ, of course, TMZ Live every day.
Where's your cat?
Here. It's hiding.
Can you see? She's over up to the side. She's becoming a diva.
Well, you know what they say.
We've gotten emotionally invested in the cats because we see them every Tuesday with you.
Our pets take cues after us, their owners. So
they act like their owners.
We got to go, Babs. Good to see you, my friend. Happy Tuesday.
We love you, buddy.
Bye, guys.
Let's get over to Brooks talking about your weather. 62 degrees, nice warm morning.
Yeah, it's a clear morning. We've got the smoky skies, though, from those California wildfires, unfortunately, that'll reduce our visibility. And also, unfortunately, dealing with this hurricane. Hurricane Sally, it's heading for the northern Gulf Coast today and making landfall tomorrow. The highest winds about 100 miles offshore of Pensacola, but already feeling the effects. In fact, in Alabama, Gulf Shores, Alabama, the conditions there on the coastline getting quite rough. We've had some camera footage there of the battering waves, and we'll bring that up for you whenever we can here. The storm surge from this, about 6 to 8 feet as it works inland. Hurricane warnings from the Pearl River, which is the border of Louisiana and Mississippi, all the way east to Navarre, which is just to the east of Pensacola there. Locations, I should say, just east of Pensacola there. So, yeah, we've got this Category 1 hurricane making landfall tomorrow night. The wind's not the biggest of issues. I mean, they've seen worse than this, but it's going to be the rain. This could produce 10 to 20 inches of rain. And if we have that camera out of Gulf Shores, I'd love to show you what it looks like. Yeah, here it is. Thanks so much. So this is Gulf Shores from one of the resorts there. You can see the waves now battering up on the coastline. You can see those hurricane flags flying on the beach, those 2 red square flags, the camera bouncing around in the wind. The storm surge there, not high yet. Of course, it'll likely push over the dunes, but conditions deteriorating through the day today and tomorrow in what will be a relentless storm. This thing is just kind of like unending. It's going to take the better part of the next 48 hours for the worst effects to finally pass. Meanwhile, here, we can't buy a shower of rain if we wanted to. High pressure is keeping us high and dry, keeping us hot, highs near 90 today. But one benefit, it's keeping a lot of this really thick, noxious wildfire smoke to our north and to our west. But if you notice on the little wind icons there, those little lines, we're getting a little bit of a northerly component. So we could certainly see some of this lighter smoke working through the region today. And that's what we're seeing this morning in our skies, reducing our visibility a little bit. You can see about 10, 15 miles, but beyond that, the smoke kind of kills the view. 4 major wildfires still burning here. The Cameron Peak fire in western Larimer County is well over 100,000 acres, but the snow early last week tamped down a lot of the real smoky effects, that almost like volcano look where it was raining ash across Longmont to Levelland to Fort Collins. That said, unfortunately, with dry conditions persisting this week, it's within the realm of possibility that it sparks back up and gets a lot smokier, but right now we're looking at just moderate air quality thanks to the California wildfire smoke. The Flatirons here obscured, and of course you can't see Longs Peak if you wanted to. Certainly can't see Mount Evans either from the perspective of downtown, but that's about 35 miles away. However, once you're at around A-Basin, you can see a little bit better. You can also notice the little dusting of snow from last week up on those peaks. But the bottom line is this. Today, forecasting a high of 90, and if we do see 90, which is in the forecast, it'll be the 74th time that's happened this summer, which would place us in the #1 spot for the most occurrences of 90-degree temperatures. Otherwise, a slow cool down toward 80 by next Monday and what will be an overall dry forecast. You got it, Chris.
Democratic challenger Joe Biden take part in a debate on Joe Rogan's podcast. The latest response this morning.
I'm Kyle Backus. When we first meet with a client after an accident, there are two things they want to know. How much is this going to cost, and what will the results be? At Backus & Schenker, it's free to speak with us about your case, and it's free while we work on your case. There are no fees or costs unless we win your case. Over the years, we've recovered hundreds of millions of dollars for our clients. Call 222-2222. Backus & Schenker. Our passion is justice.
Thinking about refinancing but don't want to start over with a 30-year term? American Financing can help. Salary-based mortgage consultants can create a custom loan program for you. Take advantage of a lower interest rate and name your term based on your budget. 10, 13, or 18-year loans. Really any term you need. It truly is a custom loan. It's your mortgage, your term. Put more money back into your pocket every month. Call American Financing today. 303-695-7000.
FanDuel Sportsbook's risk-free first bet makes it incredibly easy to bet without risk. But to make it even less risky, we've hired former All-Pro nose tackle Vince Wilfork to be Aaron's food safety inspector while he bets.
Do you think I could have a bite yet? Or it's just I haven't eaten this morning. I didn't eat. Do you know when?
FanDuel Sportsbook. There's no easier way to bet the Broncos risk-free.
It's okay.
Get up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet.
John Hickenlooper repeatedly broke the law while in office. Private jet trips, luxury limo rides. And when he got caught, Hickenlooper defied a court-ordered subpoena and was held in contempt.
While you were governor, you took those rides on corporate jets.
Can you tell me why you defied the subpoena and why you felt like you were above the law?
Why do you play by a different set of rules?
So, Mr. Hickenlooper, are you sorry for breaking the law?
Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Right now at American Furniture Warehouse's Labor Day event, you can find the perfect furniture for your home office needs. We know that you're getting ready for school or working from home, and we have a large selection of furniture that can help make your space much more accommodating. We have desks, office chairs, shelves, and cabinets, so you have a flexible workspace for work or study. Come to American Furniture Warehouse's Labor Day event, and you'll find something that's just right at our everyday low prices.
For more than 15 years, Adventure Dental has been earning your trust for safe, high-quality, and compassionate dental, vision, and orthodontic care. While we reduced care to emergencies only during this phase of the pandemic, we miss seeing you in the practices. Our teams have been preparing for reopening responsibly. During this next phase, you may notice some changes guided by the Centers for Disease Control at all of our practices. Proper dental, vision, and orthodontic care are essential to overall health. We remain committed to your safety and comfort, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Fox 31, your local election headquarters, and President Trump has accepted an invitation for a fourth debate moderated by podcast giant Joe Rogan.
Rogan floated a proposed matchup between the president and his Democratic rival Joe Biden during a recent installment of his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. Rogan said it would be just the three of them in the room. You'd have to stream it live and no one can edit it. And Rogan said that he would want them in there for hours. Rogan said if they wanted to do that, then they both would want to do it in his studio in Austin, sit down, have a debate. He would 100% do it. The Biden campaign did not immediately respond.
I mean, you may know Joe Rogan. He hosts the UFC fights. He's done other shows, but his podcast has taken off and it's hugely popular.
I mean, I think it's best for the American people. Like, let's let him duke it out so we can get more information.
Wow.
Right?
We'll see. Is it best for their campaigns though? Because I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's where the strategy comes into play, but.
We'll see. Denver City Council voting against a new contract with Denver police.
Council says the city needs to save more money, so we're on it, finding out what happens next.
We moved to Colorado about a year ago, and one day when I was taking my daughter to daycare, out of nowhere, someone hit us. But I've seen the billboards. When you're in a wreck, you call Frank Azar. He got us $225,000. Thank you, Frank.
You know, most companies come to your home to try to sell you something. They don't clean the furnace, they just look at it and find something wrong. Fix-It 24/7 wants to make sure your furnace serves you as long as possible. With a furnace cleaning, they actually clean the furnace. And do you know that dirt is the #1 killer of furnaces? When they cleaned my furnace, they took it apart and practically refurbished it from the ground up. I don't know another company that does this much for the same price as Fix-It 24/7.
Firefighters, we always have each other's backs. We're a family. The guy always had our backs was John Hickenlooper. John, he did everything he could to help first responders, especially in the years after 9/11. So when I see the ads from Cory Gardner's allies attacking John Hickenlooper about 9/11, it makes me sick. It's just a lousy smear campaign. I know John Hickenlooper. He's a great guy with real integrity.
I'm John Hickenlooper, and I approve this message.
Hi, gorgeous. Everybody smile.
We're still the same place you love, serving what you love at the price you love. Get 2 hot and spicy McChicken sandwiches for $2. Add any size Coke for just $1 more.
Hi there, it's Les Schwab Tires. But if you don't know us, we want to introduce ourselves as Les Schwab Alignment and Brakes and Shocks and Wheels and Tires. Now, some tire places don't offer all that. They only sell tires. And we're not sure how they sleep at night, because all those services affect things like steering and stopping. That's why we offer more than tires to help keep you safe. Stop by or book an appointment at leschwab.com. Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
Ready to go when you are.
Wow, you look nice. Getting around isn't as easy as it used to be. That's why we called Bath Fitter. They removed our old tub and installed a beautiful new spacious shower. Now, getting in and out is a breeze. And we have peace of mind with seamless walls that provide a watertight fit, plus their lifetime guarantee. Thanks to Bath Fitter, life is so much easier with a shower we love.
Call today or learn more at bathfitter.com.
Most days, my mindset when I come to work is going into battle to fight for the rights of my clients. They need my help. They're injured, they have pain, loss of income. Some of them are permanently disabled, and they need a fighter to protect their rights against the more powerful large corporation.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives. It's not just a slogan, it's who we are.
Live from Denver, this is Fox 31 News at 9.
Happening right now, a hearing for a Denver City Council member facing an ethics complaint from police. How Candy Cidabacca responded to that complaint when we asked her about it.
Denver City Council moves not to pass a police agreement on officer salaries over the next 2 years. We'll explain why and what comes next just ahead.
And a live look from the Gulf Coast as Hurricane Sally is ramping up and picking up strength and slowly churning towards the U.S.
And a new Reese's rumor has junk food fans excited. The new item the company might be putting inside those beloved peanut butter cups. Inside the peanut butter cup?
I wonder what it is.
I don't care. Put it in my mouth. I want it.
Well, we could really have some fun with that if we're leaving it wide open, Kirk.
Good to have you. Just after 9 o'clock. It's Tuesday morning. I'm Kirk Young.
I'm Megan O'Halloran. We've got Sam watching that morning drive. We'll check in with her to see if there's any slowdowns. But first, let's get over to Brooks watching the weather, and we could top out at another record again today.
Yes, absolutely. And we're looking at clear skies today. Check out this shot of Colorado. You know, one thing we are dealing with, though, unfortunately today is some wildfire smoke. But based on the upper level flow, while today we'll see generally skies featuring sunshine, we will see a lot more smoke in our skies come this time tomorrow, and especially once we get into the day on Wednesday.